everybody. So today I'm going to go over these 4 different types of hunger so that you can figure out which one do you mostly feed and are you feeding it productively so that we can be in control of things like snacking and cravings and automatic portion control and overeating and all that stuff. So this is very, very important because the different types of hunger is exactly why we are going for food. And, as animals, we are supposed to be very in tune with our bodies and feed it what it is asking for. But the problem is because our food is poor in nutrients, because it's not the highest quality, because we often choose, convenient foods over whole foods, our signals in our body are really messed up. And because of that, we are out of touch with our natural hunger cues. And therefore, we can't instinctually eat to lose weight. We don't know how to do it anymore because it should be easy to lose weight and it should be easy to choose what to eat, and we should know how much of what to eat instinctually, but over the years, because of bad habits, because we've been taught wrong, and because of our poor diets, those signals have been crossed. So let's dive into it and see if we can fix that today. Cool? So first type of hunger we're going to go over is physical hunger, okay? So this is literally the hunger that you feel when your body is asking you for food. So this would be, when your stomach is growling, like my nice writing there. When your stomach is growling, maybe you get cramping, maybe you're even lightheaded sometimes, right? Lightheaded sometimes. This is basically, your stomach is empty and your body is telling you your stomach is empty. So here's the problem if we're listening to physical hunger a lot of the time. So let's say, you wake up every morning and you eat at 8 a.m. Every morning that you wake up, you've now trained your body to be hungry for 8 a.m. So yes, you're hungry, and yes, it makes sense to say, okay, I'm going to listen to my natural hunger cue, but that is not a natural hunger cue. That is something that we've now trained. Same thing if you're a snacker and you always eat chips at 10 o'clock at night. You're always going to be hungry at 10 o'clock at night because you've trained yourself. So if you are somebody who listens to your physical hunger a lot, unfortunately, it's usually not our natural physical hunger. We're not usually hungry. Our stomach is just kind of cued to tell us at that time to fill it, okay? So the one thing to know about physical hunger is feeling hungry, like actually having your stomach empty, is not a bad thing. It's actually one of my favorite feelings. I feel the most focused, I have the most energy, and I feel the lightest and the tightest when my stomach is empty. Now, I'm not talking about starving and you're going to pass out. I'm talking about my stomach is growling and I don't have to feed it every time that it asks, okay? And the reason for that is because when I go to bed hungry, I wake up way lighter and my stomach feels way tighter. And I actually have a way better sleep, way more rested, deep sleep. But the idea here is, digesting food requires a ton of energy. And if you're constantly feeding yourself food, even if it's healthy food and even if it's not a lot of food, you're then going to waste a lot of energy on digestion when you could be using that for burning fat, for recovering your muscles, for even destroying cancer cells. That's how cool fasting and autophagy, it's called, is. So if you are somebody who listens to your physical hunger a lot, I would challenge you to push it a little bit. Push past the hunger cues that your tummy is telling you and experiment to see what is actually real and what is trained. So that is the first type. Now, the second type of hunger that a lot of us fall victim to, and by the way, you can be a combination of all of these, but usually we will, the majority of the time, listen to one, maybe 2 of these. But second one is emotional eating, okay? So this is, let's say we had a really tough day at work and we get home and we just want to unwind with something in the drive-thru really quick. Or we're really stressed in our marriage and we got in a fight and so we're going to have some ice cream while I watch a show and decompress, right? So this is emotions, negative emotions like stress or overwhelm. It can also be happy emotions like we're celebrating, okay? And rewarding ourselves with food. So here's the problem with emotional eating. So basically, if you are somebody who emotionally eats, meaning you feel any type of intense emotion and your go-to is to either cope with it is food or to unwind is food, now we've trained ourselves to get an oxytocin hit from food. We've trained ourselves to get our high in life from food. And the problem is food is one of the quickest ways to get a high. Unfortunately, other than doing drugs or, giving birth when we have a flush of oxytocin. So basically now, unfortunately, what you've done is you've pushed your threshold for pleasure up here. So it's going to require a lot more to feel excited, to feel anything intensely, right? Which is a problem because, that's what life is about, having these nice ebbs and flows of emotion. We want to feel our life, right? So the emotional eating is a problem because now it is up to our oxytocin and our pleasure threshold, and it's very hard to go beyond that to actually feel, to find something that can actually push beyond that other than food. So then food becomes a big source of pleasure in your life, and there's very little things outside of that you find joy or that pique your emotions. So that is a problem because now you're going to go through your life always seeking food for your quick hit, right? Quick hit of de-stress. Maybe it's a glass of wine as well. De-stressing or even celebrating, right? Maybe you reward yourself. You know, it's funny, sometimes we go on a diet and then we reward ourselves with a cheat meal, right? Which doesn't make any sense, right? We're trying to eat healthy, then we reward ourselves for being healthy by being really unhealthy and going overboard. It's counterproductive, right? But that is probably because for a long time you've been an emotional eater. One of the things I know about emotional eaters, because I've trained and coached thousands of them, is sometimes they don't even know they're emotionally eating. Okay, so I would really, next time you find yourself overeating or you feel guilty for eating something you know you quote unquote shouldn't because it was bad. By the way, there's no such thing as bad. There's just what's working towards my goal and what's not. But next time you feel like guilty after eating something, usually it's because you're an emotional eater and you ate for the wrong reason. You ate to kind of fill a void. That's what this is for. You ate to cope with an emotion. You didn't have any other way to cope. If this is true, then what I would encourage you to do as an emotional eater is to put things in your schedule that you look forward to other than food, right? If you're just like all week long, you're looking forward to going to that restaurant on Saturday because they serve your favorite pizza, that's great, that's exciting, but you gotta have more to life in your life that you're looking forward to than that. So sit down and, once or twice a month, plan a facial, plan a massage, buy yourself a book that you're looking forward to read or to come in the mail, right? Plan a trip in a couple months. Like, you need to always have things in your life that you're looking forward to other than food. Otherwise, food will be your go-to pleasure, and like that gets really boring, and we put on weight really quick if we're always going there for good emotions. So that's the other way. Now, the next way that we eat is for entertainment. Now, this is what I call the bored eaters or the procrastinators, okay? I used to be a big procrastinator. So basically, I had to send an email, or I had to get a deadline done, or I had to clean this at the house, right? Like, when I had to do something that required a lot of brain power that I didn't want to tackle, I would usually eat. A procrastinator. That's what I would do. Or if it was the end of the day and I just didn't have anything to do, but I was bored or I couldn't find anything on TV, I would just eat, right? So your entertainment eater is when you're bored or you're procrastinating from doing something else, okay? Now the problem with this one, food becomes something that you always have to pair with something else. Right? So now you can't appreciate food in the moment. You can't enjoy it for what it is. It always needs to be paired with something, right? You're eating and driving. You're eating while you're cooking. You're eating while you're standing. You're eating while you're working. You're eating while you're driving. Did I say driving already? I'm in the zone. So it becomes something that you are doing something with. And now it's no longer this main event where you can focus on every bite. Are you satisfied? Are you full? Does that taste good? So this is something like, you're late at night, you're eating, and then you finish an entire bag of chips and you don't even realize it, and you're not even full, right? Didn't even fill you up. It's just you were eating kind of mindlessly to fill time. Or to again, kind of paired with the emotional eating, it gives you some sense of emotional spike, which then makes us think that we are doing something, right? Instead of doing, if you're the procrastinator, instead of doing the thing we're supposed to be doing, food gives us that spike, makes us feel like we're actually being productive with something when we are not, right? Eating is not productive all the time, right? When we're nourishing our body, it is, but most of the time, we're not choosing the best option for that, right? So entertainment. If this is you, if you are a bored eater or you just snack to fill time or you eat a lot of food and you don't realize that you finished so much of it, or you don't realize that you're eating a bunch of empty calories and then you're like not full at all, you're still hungry after you finish meals, it just means you're not being present when you are eating because, again, food is your entertainment. Food should enhance experiences. It shouldn't be the experience, okay? So like something where you are going, you haven't seen your friend for like 5 years and you guys are going out to dinner. The dinner enhances the wonderful experience, right? The glass of wine gets you a little loose and giggly with your girlfriend, right? But it's not that we're looking forward to that glass of wine, we're looking forward to the whole experience as a whole, and we're not obsessing over that thing, okay? So this is something that we fall victim to a lot of the time. This is probably the second. Emotional eating would be the first one I see a lot of, and then entertainment will be the second one I see a lot of. And it's not, it's not something you can't get unstuck from. You just have to realize that, what else can I do with my time other than this? One of the best tips that I do for this when I find myself trying to be a procrastinator is I have a to-do list, a big to-do list, right? Like everything that I've had to get done for like years and I've never done it. There's like 100 things on my list, from small things like clean the baseboard clean the left wall baseboard in the basement, right? Like super specific stuff, to get a new toilet, to buy a new wardrobe, like whatever, tons of to-do list. And then when I find myself going to eat because I'm procrastinating or I'm bored and don't have anything else to do, I look at my to-do list, and because there's so much on this to-do list, I always find at least one thing that I can make myself do first that takes like no effort and no time. And then I decide if I want to eat after that. And you can, if you find that you are, physically hungry, and not emotional eating, and that you're not trying to entertain yourself, then you can choose to go eat. But if you realize, oh no, I was just trying to fill the time, then problem solved. So get a nice big to-do list if you find that you are kind of an entertainment eater. Now the last one is an excess eater. So we all fall victim to this, usually when we are at events or vacations or weddings or family gatherings or holidays, okay? So the excess eaters are when we are in groups, okay? When we see food, like we just see food everywhere, or when we have like peer pressure, okay? So there's like peer pressure. So basically we eat in excess. We are all susceptible to this one. When somebody's like, oh, have one bite. Oh, just start fresh on Monday. Oh, you don't even need to lose weight. What are you doing? Live a little. So we fall victim to some type of peer pressure, whether it's from our family, our friends, something is telling us to eat more, but we are not in tune, okay? It's not necessarily that we're physically hungry, like we're not hungry at all, it's just we're in that environment. So we're like, yeah, okay, why not? So peer pressure, watch out for that, okay? Just quick note on that. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're gonna die, right? And you're going through death's door alone. Like nobody's going with you. So you have to be fully prepared and content with the life that you live, which means not living for other people, not listening to other people. And that starts with your health. If you can't stick up for your own health, you don't have a chance of doing anything else. You will never reach your full potential until you learn to stick up for your health, because only you will understand. Nobody will understand except the ladies in my community. We don't understand, like the world doesn't understand why you would choose the side salad with your burger instead of the French fries, right? Like enjoy the burger, just have some veggies on the side. You know what I mean? Like people are going to criticize you because they're average and they're going to die regretful and unsatisfied. Don't let that be you. I know that's a little morbid, but it's just like true, right? Like think 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whenever it's our time to pass. How do you want to feel about the way that you lived? And being peer pressured is not one of them. Okay, but that's one of the biggest reasons that I see people overeating when they've been really good and strict and lost a lot of weight. They still have this pressure and this judgment in the back of their minds that they are kind of unsure of how to set those boundaries. So if you're an excess eater and you deal with like peer pressure a lot, or people pushing you, or you can't say no in social situations, that means that this is kind of something you fall victim to a lot. If you see food and you eat it, okay, so here's the problem, right? We restrict ourselves with so many diets for so long, right? We're like, okay, Monday, I'm gonna eat chicken and broccoli, and I'm gonna go run for 2 hours every day, and then I'm gonna drop 10 pounds that week, and then in 1 month from now, I'm gonna be at my goal, and then I'll have some cake, right? And it's like we do these really strict things, but then we've trained our minds and our bodies to be like, every time we start something, oh my God, I'm never gonna get this stuff I love again. This has to be torture. I have to restrict myself. So then when you do see food, you go crazy. You're like a caveman. You're like an animal. You can't stop, right? That's something that I really struggled with. I couldn't just eat one Oreo and have an entire row of Oreos, right? So if you were somebody who sees food and eats it, you're an excess eater. But this is also pretty easy to curb. This is kind of a mindset thing that helps us. So basically take out all restrictions in your mind. You're allowed to eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Like seriously, and you'll still lose weight, trust me. However, you have to stop eating when you're full. So you gotta pay attention, you gotta slow down, you gotta watch one bite, right? We're not choosing to eat for entertainment, because then we're not paying attention to how the food's making us feel. We're not intentionally eating. But if we want to get over eating all the food in sight, we have to say no restrictions. I can eat whatever I want. I can eat as much as I want, whenever I want. So now there's no restriction in your mind. And then you can choose if you want the food or not. Okay, before we weren't even deciding if we want it, we just had to have it because it was there. And then you can decide and start with one bite of everything. What did I like? I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I'm not going to waste my calories, waste my food on that. I'm going to stick to only eating the things that I love. And if there's nothing that I love here, I will not eat it. Okay, take that in. If there's nothing that I love here, I will not eat it. That's one of the biggest rules that I could give you guys, okay? So if you're in a social situation, if you're at a holiday and they have the thing you love the most, eat that, but don't eat the other things just because they're there. If they're not a 10 out of 10, maybe even just like a 9 out of 10 on the enjoyment and taste scale, skip it. And that'll help you get out of that excessive mindset. And then the last thing is the group settings, right? Just because you're around more people, either out of habit, you're used to like, all the girls will make and bring a potluck when you guys hang out, or grandma makes a famous potato salad at the reunions, right? And we're just used to overeating in these group settings. It's just about kind of reprogramming, being 1% better every time, right? Maybe the girls don't do a potluck. Maybe you take them to a workout class for fun. Maybe you take them to a painting class for fun, right? Maybe you guys just go for a hike in the woods and you guys make smoothies when you get back, right? Like redefine what hanging out in a group looks like. And then also, if you're in group situations where you're going places, be the awesome friend that brings the food, right? Bring a fruit tray, bring a veggie tray, bring some chicken kebabs on a skewer with vegetables, right? Like be the person that always shows up with food for everybody, but low-key, you're just making sure that you're bringing the healthy food that's there for you. And then as a byproduct, you're like the nice person that brought everybody food, right? So those are the 4 types of hunger, okay? Physical, emotional, entertainment, and then excess. We all fall into these. Every single one of us eats in one of these, okay? However, we'll lean towards one as the majority of why we're choosing to eat. So I would love to know, which one do you fall into the most, and how has it been sabotaging your results? And now that you've watched this video, okay, how are you going to fix it going forward? What are some tips and tricks or things that you can do to be aware of why you are choosing to eat and rewire it so that this time food doesn't control you? And like I said at the beginning of this video, we can get closer to being intuitive with our hunger cues and finding what our natural body is asking for instead of being clouded by all the miscommunication that we've had with habits and people and thoughts and experiences and diets and our metabolism and all that stuff and hormones, blah, 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 blah. Crazy stuff, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this and I hope you find it useful.